Welcome to a wet Montreal here in Canada as today's practice session is about to start. We can expect some difficult driving conditions today, which should provide a real challenge for the drivers. It's always enjoyable coming to Montreal as it produces an exciting weekend's racing. High speeds and tough corners means there's always a chance of a driver losing their front wing, going off into an escape road, or even heading into the gravel.
Well, the Wall of Champions always seems to catch one or two drivers out because of how close they get to it as they arrive at such high speed. We can probably expect to see someone end up there over the course of the weekend.
A few of the drivers have mentioned how important it will be to look after their rear tyres here. I know the Sauber and Toro Rosso guys are particularly worried about how they're going to manage that, as it's perhaps one of the areas they're still trying to get on top of.
Lots of low-speed exits means the rears are in for a lot of punishment. It's all too easy to spin them up coming out of a corner too aggressively. It might look great for us as spectators, as we love to see a car driven beyond its limits, but it's not going to result in a great long-run pace.
Hello guys and welcome back to my F1 2015 career mode. We are here in Montreal, the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Last time out in Monaco was an absolute fantastic race, and if you haven't already seen it, I think you should go watch it now because there was loads of overtakes, a few crashes and a bit of controversy as well. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, just pause this one and go watch that one if you haven't already done so. Okay, so last time out in Monaco, we started in first. We went down to 20th. We then got back up into first after loads of overtakes. Then went back down into 9th when the rain came. Then back up into second. Then we had a crash with Alonso, and that put us down into 4th. But looking for better results here in Canada. Let's head over to the practice results and then straight into qualifying.
That's the end of practice, and it's Lewis Hamilton who was able to achieve the fastest time on the track today. Good afternoon, and we hope you're ready for an exciting qualifying session as the teams make their final preparations here in Canada. It's raining out on track here in Canada, which should make for a really interesting qualifying session. I think the form book can be thrown out of the window on a track like Montreal when it's wet. We should always expect the unexpected here.
With how close the cars get to the Wall of Champions, throw in some wet weather and it adds an extra level of complexity for the drivers to deal with. It's going to be an exciting session.
That'll be disappointing for Jenson Button. He's been knocked out in qualifying 1, which is certainly not what the team were aiming for this weekend. I think Fernando Alonso won't be pleased with his qualifying result today. He's outside the top 10 and with a lot to do tomorrow if he's going to salvage something from the weekend.
Here we go then, qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix, and as you saw there, we got into Q3 very easily as we're going to head out onto the track. Here we go, coming into the last couple of corners for our first lap in this qualifying. Going into the last chicane, then just trying to stay away from the Wall of Champions here, going into the chicane, taking a lot of curve, keeping it very close to the Wall of Champions, but very lucky not to hit it. And then going across the line, it's going to be a 1:16.8. So that's put us up into 6th for the time being, but we can definitely do a faster lap than that as we're coming around into turn 1. I reckon we can definitely get into around P3 as we're going to come down this long back straight yet again, get the DRS open, running down towards this final chicane. Hopefully we can get into the top 3. If we can get into P2 as well, that's where the team wants us to get. That would be even better. We go round the final chicane, then getting it close to the Wall of Champions once again. I'm going to run down towards the line. Is it going to be P3? It's even better. It's P2. We have achieved the objective of our team at the moment, and we are not going to be putting in any more laps in this qualifying session, so hopefully that will be good enough for P2.
Lewis Hamilton provided us with the performance of the day here in qualifying. Fastest lap means he's on pole for tomorrow's race.
Well, both these drivers have been working hard with the team to ensure they get maximum performance out of the car, and it looks like they've found the right combination, at least in qualifying trim. Now, we need to see how they get on in the race.
So we didn't manage to get pole position here in this Canadian Grand Prix, but Lewis Hamilton put in an absolute fantastic time, beating us by 7/10 of a second. We did manage to still come in second, so we'll be starting second on the grid for the Canadian race. Felipe Massa is in 3rd, with Nico Rosberg in 4th, then it's Kimi Räikkönen in 5th. Roman Grosjean is in 6th, Pastor Maldonado is in 7th, our teammate is down in 8th with Sebastian Vettel also in 9th, so those two very surprisingly down there, with Nico Hülkenberg rounding out the top 10. So, without any further ado, let's head over to the race for the Canadian Grand Prix.
It's Sunday afternoon here in Montreal, and we're about to find out who's best prepared to take on this 4.3-kilometre track and, of course, the infamous Wall of Champions. Lewis Hamilton starts on pole today, and with the blistering pace he's shown all weekend long, it shouldn't come as a surprise if he leaves the opposition in his wake during the race today.
He'll want to end this weekend on a high after yesterday's fantastic performance, but he's going to have a lot of competition. I doubt he'll be expecting an easy race, especially considering the teams around him.
Felipe Massa looks to have the edge over Valtteri Bottas this weekend. He'll be hoping to cement that by finishing ahead of his teammate in today's race.
Felipe has been looking quick this weekend, and if he can carry that into today's race, he could be on for a good result. As for Valtteri, he wasn't looking comfortable with his setup yesterday, and we'll hope it works better for him over the long stints today.
So here we go then, it's race day for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's have a look at the race strategy for today's race. It's a one-stop strategy of this 70-lap race. Here we go then. Starting from P2 on the grid. Can we get our first win of the season? We're just going to have to wait and see as the lights come on. It's 5 lights. And away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix, and we're off to a fairly decent start this time, only losing out to Felipe Massa. Doesn't look like Nico Rosberg behind us, so we're going to go around the outside of Massa into turn 1, then into turn 2. We can't get past him there, so we did manage to lose a position, but it hasn't been our worst start so far this season. It's been a fairly decent one compared to the others, and hopefully we can start to build on that and get a better start. But we've got Nico Rosberg right behind us at the moment. We'll be trying to fend him off. Also try catch up to Felipe Massa and Lewis Hamilton, who have already got a little bit of a gap to us at the time being. We're only into the first couple of corners, so it looks like we're quite slow in the first couple of laps, just trying to get our tyres up to temperature. Nico Rosberg now right behind us. Will he go round the outside into the first part of the chicane? Doesn't look like it. We go defensive. We allow him on the outside, but he decides not to go round there as he's now right on our tail, coming in towards this hairpin, which will run down the back straight. He's going to go round the outside. Is he thinking about, he's holding it on the outside for the time being. Maybe try the cutback move on us. No, he doesn't. He's still remaining behind us, but he will get the slipstream down towards the final chicane. We've got Nico Rosberg right behind us now. Will he go for a move on our left? Looks like he has. Then there's a Ferrari right behind him. I believe that's Kimi Räikkönen. Will he also try a move on us? Not too sure, as we're later on the brakes into the chicane, taking as much curb, giving Nico Rosberg the room still, but we're going to remain in P3 for the time being. Nico Rosberg, though, still on our tail. Will he go up the inside in towards turn 1? No, he just thinks better of it, and we are going to remain in P3 for the next couple of corners, hopefully. Looks like we caught up to Felipe Massa just a little bit in towards that chicane. Hopefully we can try and catch up to him into the next couple of laps, but we still got Nico Rosberg right behind us in towards that first chicane. He was right on our tail there, but it looks like he's dropped off ever so slightly. Now going into the second chicane. No, we're not. We're going to cut ahead to lap 3. DRS is now enabled as we've gone very wide. Now we're going to take a wide line in towards turn 2. Nico Rosberg looking to go up our inside. He's going to go side by side. No, he's not. He's right behind us. Now he's going for a move up the inside into the first part of the chicane. We give him the room, then we get the inside into the second one, but Nico Rosberg has already made the move stick, and we are down into P4. That's a great move from Nico Rosberg, but now going in towards the second chicane. Looking to try and get past Nico Rosberg as soon as possible as we bang into that wall. We're going to have a look at the damage. Luckily, no damage for us there, as we've now got Kimi Räikkönen going up the inside in towards this third chicane. And he's not going for a move there. So, managing to maintain P4 for the time being, but Nico Rosberg is getting away from us as we're trying to battle with Kimi Räikkönen for what's his 4th position in this Canadian Grand Prix. Then it's Romain Grosjean behind him as Kimi Räikkönen goes up the inside in towards the hairpin. That's a great move from him. We'll be looking to hold it behind him and try and get up through the DRS in this next couple of corners. We won't get DRS. That is because actually Kimi Räikkönen passed us after the detection point, so he's got DRS, but we've still got the slipstream going up the inside into the chicane, braking a lot later than him, taking the curb, and we are back up into P4 with Nico Rosberg just ahead of us, but Kimi Räikkönen will get DRS yet again. Is he close enough to go for the overtake? Doesn't look like it. Looking in the mirrors, he looks like he's just a bit too far behind as we've run wide yet again going into that first corner. We're keeping it nice and tidy on the second one, but a bit later on the throttle than we should have been because we ran wide into turn 1. Now on lap 4, we've got Kimi Räikkönen behind us yet again. We've got DRS. I believe that's from Rosberg ahead of us. Now Kimi Räikkönen on our left going for the overtake. Will he be able to outbrake us going into the chicane? No, he does. A lot later on the brakes, taking the chicane, and that is another great move up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen to maintain P4 for the time being. Looks like we are catching up to Nico Rosberg ever so slightly as we go into turn 1. This time we actually managed to make it, so hopefully we can have a good turn 2, which we do. Looking to be right on the tail of Nico Rosberg within the next couple of corners, as we are now on lap 5. So we are right on Nico Rosberg's gearbox, who has then got Felipe Massa within about 5/10 just ahead of him, going through the DRS detection point and then in towards the hairpin, going up the inside of the hairpin, looking to get the move done fairly early. Can Nico Rosberg hold it on our outside? We lose the back end ever so slightly, so that will allow Nico Rosberg to have a better drive out the corner. We've also got Kimi Räikkönen, the Ferrari, behind us. We're going to get DRS on Nico Rosberg. He's also got DRS on Felipe Massa, as Kimi Räikkönen's got DRS on us. He's going to get sandwiched there, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go for a move. But will we go up the inside of both of them into the chicane? Nico Rosberg gives us the room. We give him the room. We take a lot more curb, getting very close to the wall of champions, but we managed to get back up into P3, and we are back on the podium for the time being as we wiggle the wheel in celebration after making a great double move in towards that chicane. As we've now got Felipe Massa just a couple of seconds up the road. We'll be looking to catch up to him into the next couple of corners and hopefully get DRS on him, as we are now on lap 6. Looks like Nico Rosberg is right behind us yet again. Will he be able to make an overtake down this straight? Looks like the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen is going for the overtake on Nico Rosberg and then go for the overtake on us. That is a fantastic opportunistic move from him, but now we go back up the inside of this chicane, holding it, going side by side with Kimi Räikkönen, getting very close to the wall of champions, but very lucky not to hit it, and a great move yet again, giving each other the room, taking as much curb as we possibly can there. But we are back into P3 for the time being, as we got Kimi Räikkönen yet again on our tail. We need to shake the 1 second gap within the next couple of laps in order, because Felipe Massa is at the moment getting away, because at the moment we are battling with these couple of drivers. Now Kimi Räikkönen manages to get the move done in towards that final chicane. We won't get DRS on him down this straight, but hopefully we can try and keep up with him into the couple of corners and then get DRS down that long straight where we've just been overtaken by Kimi Räikkönen. As we're going in towards turn 2, a sort of wider line, and now cutting ahead to lap 8. Will we get the DRS on Kimi Räikkönen? Yes, we do. Looks like we're just a little bit too far behind. Nico Rosberg is a bit off our tail as well, so we go in towards the chicane. But hopefully we can catch up quite a bit under braking, which we do, taking quite a bit of the curb there. Now right behind Kimi Räikkönen, getting the DRS open, and then looking like we're going to get the move done before we've even got to turn 1. There's a fantastic line through the final chicane to manage to hold that, and now we've run a little bit wide into turn 1, so we're going to have to be quite defensive on the apex to fend off Kimi Räikkönen, but luckily he doesn't go for the move. He is still behind us at the moment, but now we've cut ahead to lap 12, and looks like we've shaken off Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Rosberg. We're right on the back of Felipe Massa coming into this final chicane. Can we get the move done? Let's have a look. We're right behind him into the chicane. We're having to brake a lot more than we did on Kimi and Nico Rosberg as we bang into the wall of champions. No damage, I don't think, so we've now got the DRS on Felipe Massa. Will we go for a move into turn 1? Looks like we do a lot later on the brakes, holding the inside line. Now we'll have the outside line into turn 2. Felipe Massa is still on the inside. It looks like he's going to remain in P2 for the time being. Can we get up the inside into this next corner? No, it doesn't look like it. We don't even go for a look there because we're just a bit too far behind. Now coming in towards the second chicane, right behind Felipe Massa. Looks like we're gaining on through here. Going up the inside. Can we make the move stick? We're holding it at the moment, but here get the inside line. And yet again, he's managing to maintain that P2 as we're just easing off, getting very close to the wall there with Felipe Massa, trying to get into the slipstream, maybe try and move up the inside of this one, which we do, getting our nose in there, but not enough. Oh, maybe getting very close there with Felipe Massa's right rear wheel, but very lucky not to have a collision between either of us as we go in towards this hairpin. A lot later on the brakes, going up the inside, hugging the curb, and looks like we are going to maintain P2. Unless he can come back at us down this straight. It doesn't look like he's had a very good drive out of the corner, but he will get the slipstream. He won't get DRS, but that faster straight line speed of the Williams racing team. And now we're going to go into the chicane, but it doesn't look like Felipe Massa is alongside us enough to even try for the move, as we're going to give him the room and now get very close to the wall and then get the DRS open as we run down towards turn 1. Up next for us is Lewis Hamilton. He is 14 seconds up the road, so it'd be quite a challenge to try and catch up to him, but there is a lot of laps to go in this race and it's certainly possible, but Lewis Hamilton is very fast. We have now cut ahead to lap 32 because absolutely nothing happened apart from just trying to get through a couple of back markers, but we are now coming in for the pits for our first pit stop, going in onto the prime tyres at the moment. What sort of time is it going to be? It should be a good time. It should be about a 2-second stop. Yes, it is. It's a 2.4 second stop. But Lewis Hamilton has already come in at the moment. There's 19 racers. Jenson Button was the guy who retired earlier on in the race. I believe it was because of an engine failure, but that's not really any problem to us, as he's not our teammate, nor are we challenging for positions with him. As it's still in P2 as we come out of the pits. That just shows how much of a gap we did have to the drivers behind us. Nico Rosberg, I don't believe he has pit yet. So Nico Rosberg still out on the track as it's lap 51, and it's definitely getting darker on track as we skip ahead 20 laps, and looks like the rain could be coming down anytime soon. And there it is on the car. The rain is coming. This could definitely shake up the strategy and could hopefully reel in Lewis Hamilton for us. We won't be pitting yet though, because the rain is not enough to come into the pits, but maybe in a couple of laps it might be time for intermediates. We're just going to have to wait and see as we go in towards this final chicane. Very nice drive through there, getting very close to the wall as we cut ahead to lap 54. The weather is definitely getting a lot worse. Not sure about the intermediate tyres yet. There's still sort of a dry line on track, but we lost the back end there. Okay, so it is intermediate times as our engineer confirms there as we come round to the hairpin. Looks like we're losing the back end all over the place there, so that's just confirming that it is definitely time for the intermediate tyres as we put it down into lean mixed fuel just to save fuel as we come into the pit lane, and now putting it onto the intermediate so that we're ready when we come into the pit lane and make sure that the team puts on the right tyres for us. As we're now coming into the pit lane. Doesn't look like the drivers ahead. Doesn't look like Lewis Hamilton has pitted yet for the intermediate tyres. So we are really hoping that the rain just absolutely chucks it down right now so that he loses so much time on those prime tyres. But I don't think it's going to happen, because he probably would come in for full wet tyres. So then we kind of lose out as well. As it looks like Rosberg and all that behind us are coming into the pits at the same time. So we have definitely come onto the intermediate tyres at the right time. Coming round in towards turn 1 now, locking up quite a bit, but we're still managing to make the corner. Doesn't look like we're losing the back end at all, so it looks like these tyres are definitely working for us, and hopefully they can work for the next couple of laps to try and reel in Lewis Hamilton yet again. As we're now cutting ahead to lap 57, looks like the intermediate tyres are starting to get a little bit worse now. I don't think it's quite yet for the full wet tyres. We go into turn 3, and then we hit the wall. And we've got a puncher. We have got a puncher from making a mistake there. That is a disaster on lap 57. We've got the whole lap to go with a puncher, only doing about 80 miles per hour around this track. That's going to lose us so much time to Nico Rosberg. He is about 30 seconds behind us, but still, we're going to lose so much time from him, and he might even be able to overtake in towards the next couple of corners. We're now coming down this very long straight, trying to get back to the pit lane on these intermediate tyres. I believe we're going to go onto the full wet tyres because we don't want to lose out time, and it's definitely getting wetter here. As Pastor Maldonado gets very close there on our inside. Surprising not to get hit by Pastor Maldonado as we now come into the pits for our full wet tyres. We are still in P2 at the moment, but Nico Rosberg will be coming past us anytime soon unless he's going to come into the pits. There we go. So we are now back down into P3. Will Kimi Raikkonen get back past us? Will he go up into P3? We are in P3 at the moment, but Kimi Raikkonen is in P4. I reckon he's coming around the corner now, as it looks like quite a few drivers are coming into the pits. It's definitely full wet time, so maybe some of those drivers have missed out, like Kimi Raikkonen. He's gone. He stayed on the intermediate tyres. We're going to be on the wet tyres, so it's on the crossover point at the moment. So surely we should be on the right tyre for the weather at the moment. Nico Rosberg will also need to come into the pits, so hopefully we can gain a little bit of time on him as he pits. As we've now got Kimi Raikkonen right on our tail. Both tyres should really be working, but now we're going past this hairpin on lap 63. We've got Nico Rosberg right behind us. He went into the pits, so we are now back up into P2. As we've now got Nico Rosberg right behind us. There's 7 laps to go of this Grand Prix as Nico Rosberg goes up the left of us. Looks like it should be a fairly easy move, which it is. Now coming in towards this final chicane. Will we be a lot later on the brakes? Yes, we are. Locking up massively. We're going to have to cut across the chicane and give back that position to Nico Rosberg. We're just waiting for him to come back by, which he does now. So now we can put our foot down, back on the power. Going in towards turn 1 though. Side by side with Nico Rosberg. We're just going to ease it up. We'll take a little bit too much curb there, but not as much as we did going into the chicane, and we have got back up into P2 for the time being. But can Nico Rosberg get back at us? It's lap 65 now. 2 laps later, Nico Rosberg right on our tail yet again, going up the left of us. He's going to get back up into P2, but can we be later on the brakes? Hopefully not too much locking up. Looks like that's very good braking there, going side by side with Nico Rosberg into the chicane, and we are back up into P2. That's a great move on Nico Rosberg in the wet here to go back up into P2. Lewis Hamilton is 54 seconds down the road, so we don't need to really worry about him. He has definitely got this race win unless anything happens. Hopefully the commentator's curse happens for him there, because we would really love our first race win in this F1 2015 season, as Nico Rosberg goes back up the outside of us as we lost the back end, going up the inside into turn 3. We don't manage it into turn 4. Nico Rosberg is just sort of getting away from us. We need to be calm under braking and hope that we can get back past Nico Rosberg. The weather is looking atrocious at the moment. We haven't managed to have a race yet where the rain hasn't really come. I think there may have been one or two, but the rain just seems to get so much worse in these career mode races. In Monaco it was terrible, and now in Canada it just comes right at the wrong time. Unfortunately made us get that punch, but we've now managed to make that move on Nico Rosberg up the inside in towards that corner. And I believe Felipe Nasr, who is a lap car, managed to get him as well, as Lewis Hamilton wins this Canadian Grand Prix. That is confirmed. But now coming into the final chicane, we have Nico Rosberg, who is about probably about a second down the road behind us. Looks like we should manage to come in P2, coming from around this final chicane now. Then it's just towards the line, and we have got P2 running down towards the line. We have P2 in this Canadian Grand Prix, and what a fantastic race that is for us.
So it was the German national anthem that was played on the podium for our race winners today, Mercedes.
Sometimes a driver just feels comfortable in the car and is dialed into the track, making for an unbeatable combination.
After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.
So, not only did Lewis Hamilton win this Canadian Grand Prix, but he absolutely dominated it, beating me by 59 seconds, nearly a whole minute, and lapping everyone from 5th down. So, a fantastic race win for him. We managed to come home in second, so still managed to get another podium and a couple of points on Nico Rosberg and Kimi Räikkönen, who were at the top of the championship. Not sure if Lewis Hamilton has overtaken them, but Kimi Räikkönen managed to finish in 4th. With Felipe Massa in 5th. Daniil Ricciardo, our teammate, is in 6th, with Valtteri Bottas in 7th. He had a fantastic race, coming from 17th on the grid. Romain Grosjean was in 8th, with Nico Hülkenberg finishing in 9th, and Felipe Massa rounding out the top 10 and getting the final point of this race. Let's have a look at how these results affect the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton now leads the World Championship. He is 1 point ahead of his teammate Nico Rosberg, so the battle between the two Mercedes drivers is really heating up, with Kimi Räikkönen only 8 points behind them. We are in 4th. We are now on 82 points and 12 points ahead of Sebastian Vettel, but 26 points behind Lewis Hamilton, the current World Championship leader. Sebastian Vettel is in 5th, with Daniil Ricciardo, our teammate, in 6th on 69 points. So let's have a look at how these results affect the constructors' standings. No change in the constructors' standings, with Mercedes still remaining on top. We are still in 3rd on 151 points, 64 points behind the two Mercedes drivers. So both me and Daniil Ricciardo need to put in some good race results to try and catch up those. Thank you very much for joining me for this Canadian Grand Prix. Next time out, we are in Austria, Red Bull Racing's home Grand Prix, so me and Daniil Ricciardo can hopefully put on a good show for our home fans. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon.